Welcome to another episode of the Provoking Prosperity podcast, where we dive into the lives of those who have mastered the art of living authentically and creatively. Today we have the pleasure of welcoming Corbie Mitleid, a true visionary whose life has been defined by resilience, authenticity, and a deep sense of purpose. Born into a medical family, Corbie chose to forge her own path, navigating a journey filled with both triumphs and challenges, including surviving breast cancer 3 times and embracing a variety of careers that span from acting to intuitive counseling. Corbie embodies the cross of rulership in her human design and incarnation cross that speaks to leadership and the ability to bring order and structure through a unique style of guidance. Her energy is marked by grace, mental clarity, integrity, and a natural ability to lead others towards stability and alignment with their true selves. In this episode, we explore how these energies have shaped Corbie's journey from her early days of defying societal expectations to her current work as an intuitive counselor and inspirational speaker. We'll dive deep into the themes of authenticity, creative self-expression, voice, and purpose, uncovering the ways in which Corbie's design and life experiences intertwine to create a powerful narrative of leadership and transformation. So let's get ready to explore the wisdom. Let's dive in. Do you spend all of your time building and maintaining your business so that you achieve the success you envision? Do you feel frustrated, unfulfilled, and have a loss or a disconnect from your creative flow? Are you a conscious leader that is ready for change when it comes to society's views on money, wealth, relationships, and what prosperity truly means? If so, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Provoking Prosperity podcast. I am your host, Miranda Mitchell. I am a 2-4 manager who is here to empower and equip you to step out of the box of social norms, guide you into using your voice for inspiration and impact, and support you in finding what prosperity means for you so that you have the business and life that fulfills you. So grab that cup of coffee, get comfy, and get ready to hear the heartwarming and heart-wrenching personal stories, all things human design and Gene Keys, plus tangible practices that you can implement right now for your personal and business growth. Hello, beautiful souls. This is Miranda Mitchell on the Provoking Prosperity podcast. And today I am so blessed and honored to have Corbie Mitleid on. Thank you so much for being here. I'm grateful. And could you then share with us your genius or your passion, as you like to say?
Hi, Miranda. Thank you for asking me here. Hi, folks. My name is Corbie Mitleid. And this is what I humorously call the 30-second elevator speech. I am a certified tarot master, past life specialist, psychic medium, channel, author, teacher, but I am not one of those psychics who thinks her aura don't stink. I always remind people, you can do what I do. I'm not special. I am not the kind of psychic who's going to tell you that you're going to meet a guy with blue eyes and a limp in a bar. I don't go there. I'm very practical. It's here are your opportunities and how to grab them. Here's the tough stuff. Here's how to get through it or around it. Here's your toolbox. Go rock and roll. My job is not to amaze you with my wiki-woo. I am here in service. I want to put a racket pack on your back so you can go and grab your life.
I want to jump right in because there was so much within your introduction that stuck out to me energetically that was provoking, that is humbling, that is authentic, that is bold, that is confident, that's not staying within conformity, which these are all things that I feel like humanity is suffering for. We're staying within conformity of the box of what we're supposed to be, of who we're supposed to be, not knowing who we are, listening to what people tell us to do rather than our intuition, our inner guidance. How has your journey of being the different one influenced your understanding of authenticity in your life and work, particularly through grace and emotional openness?
When you have had to deal with everything that I have, which is shorthand, being the rebel of your family, everyone else was into medicine. I was an actress. I was a writer. I was the unrepentant hippie. I've also gone through 2 bouts of breast cancer, 2 divorces, rape, poverty, abuse, you name it. My life has been a roller coaster with no breaks. Change. What it's taught me is if I don't know exactly who I am, I'm not going to survive. And being exactly who I am, a charismatic, which means you walk into a room 3 feet before you walk into a room and people either love you or hate you. There is nobody who thinks you're beige. You're going to show people, A, it's okay to be authentic. B, what is what you get. And I know I am not like everybody else out there. I don't even have to try to be.
And would you even want to be?
Hell no. The only thing in my life that I like boring is my electrocardiogram, which my father, the cardiologist, first time he said it, he said, this is very boring. I said, good. So every time I get that from my cardiologist, it's yes, we'll take that boring.
You mentioned your varied careers, you acting, intuitive counseling, tarot. These shaped your creative expression. So what role has your leadership and ability to manage resources played in overcoming challenges like the illnesses and personal struggles?
I am not very good at being a sheeple. I often tell people that as far as health goes, I am a co-conspirator, not a patient. That could possibly be from the fact that I am somewhat of a control freak. I will absolutely own that. And there have been too many times when I've given up my power and it's backfired. I have not only lost time and resources, but I lost the person that I tried to follow. Because as soon as I said, no, I'm not doing that, it was, oh, you're no good anymore. And off they go. So it's very simple. When I'm me, I don't have to remember what fake or what lies or what anything I told anybody else to match them. I know exactly what I need to do, when I need to do it. I have full confidence in my understanding of my own self. And that gives other people confidence in me because they know I'm not going to wishy-wash. And I will also encourage them to be authentic. If I tell you something and you don't agree with it, don't just say yes because, oh, Corby's been doing this for a long time. No, say, I can't deal with it. And this is why. I'll either accept it, offer you the chance to work with it, or agree we don't work together because our energies aren't aligned. And then it's blessings on your journey, Petunia.
So when you say authentic, because authentic is a huge buzzword now, authenticity is my number one core value. It's been something that I've been trying to connect with my entire life. And until just recently understood that was one of my core values. So when you say authentic, since it's such a buzzword, what does authenticity mean to you?
Okay. I can give you, if you will, the Brooklyn answer, which is basically my bullshit tolerance meter is set at featherweight, and that includes for me. If I'm doing something I know is wrong, I know doesn't fit, I know I'll regret later, I just don't do it. In a way, it's the same way I tell people to connect with their spirit guides that they say, how do I know it's real? I say there are certain things spirit guides will not do. They will not chastise you or put you down. They will not pump up your ego at the expense of anybody else. They will not tell you to do anything that you know in your gut is illegal, immoral, or wrong. If you hear that in your head, trust me, it's not your spirit guide, it's ego. And that's how I do my own authenticity. Sometimes there are situations I do not like what I'm going to have to do, but I do it. When I give someone information that may be challenging, it's not my ego. I am merely the megaphone through which their guides, their people talk to them. And that's one of the reasons my readings are relatively accurate because I let my ego go sit on a shelf with a magazine. I'm just the megaphone. I'm just the way it gets through.
And how did you connect with knowing this, trusting your own self with receiving messages from spirit guides and doing everything that you do? Was it just the sense of knowing that you knew, or was there a practice that you did, or was it because of the experiences that you had to go through? Maybe it's all of the above.
That goes back to the second 30-second elevator speech because everyone said, how did you get started? When I was 9, I read a book called The Witch Family by Eleanor Estes. And instead of thinking, ooh, that's scary or high, I thought, oh, yeah, there's magic in the world. I want to go find it. Fast forward to 1973, when I was a senior in high school. And yes, my darlings, that tells you how old I am. That was the year Live and Let Die came out with Jane Seymour as Solitaire. And Spencer Gifts had the James Bond 007 Terror deck. And I bought it because we were all hippies then. You had your elephant bell bottoms and your David Crosby Prince jacket in your deck. I loved the stories that the cards would tell me. So I read for friends for 20 years, making sure my ego would stay on the shelf and I was a clear channel for the information. All of a sudden in the early 90s, I could do hands-on healing and talk to dead people with no training. That's when the universe handed me my draft notice and said, hello, you're working for us. I did it part-time for many years with a very checkered normal career, actress, author, inspirational speaker, video producer, legal assistant, writer for the graphic novel series ElfQuest, executive recruiter, psychic work always on the side. But on 9/11, as we watched the towers burn, I turned to my husband and I said, I must do this work full time. People need to know there are other answers out there. He said, I believe in you, go do it. Since then, it's 6 days a week, 14 hours a day. I read about 1,000 people a year and I get to get up in the morning. I don't have to get up in the morning. And it's like going to the gym. You go to the gym maybe every 2 weeks, you build a little. When you've been doing this as long as I have, you build the psychic muscles. You learn what works, what doesn't, and it's an immediate sort of thing. You just drop into that energy, trust that upstairs has your back, and you just go.
And do you feel that everybody has this, but we're so distracted by external things and expectations in our mind that we just have a disconnect from this?
Yes, and. Not a yes, but it's a yes, and. Look, we have 10 fingers. We all do. We can all pick out chopsticks on the piano. Some of us really love the idea of music, so we learn to read music and we practice our scales. 1 in 100 million is Elton John, but we all have 10 fingers. I'm in that middle group. I'm not going to say that I'm the Elton John of WikiWoo. That's ridiculous. But I have practiced for so many years that I'm good.
You were guided towards it. When I went into your chart, there is a couple of the gate activations. Integrity is one of them in the 26. You have a persuasive power with speaking. How do you use your voice, guided by integrity and this persuasive power, the power of your voice, to inspire and empower your clients to find their own paths, particularly those who are like you, that are the different ones in their environments?
I often say that words are my drug of choice. I've always been a writer. I've always been able to put words together. Going to another interesting system, the Michael teachings, and this is not the archangel, this is the causal energy. They believe that there are 7 roles you can choose, and the role I chose is priest. And even when you go into other incarnations, I'm always the one that people talk to, and halfway through it, I never talk to people like this, and I just say, okay, go ahead, keep going. Because of my theater training, I can preach, baby. I can get you to listen. And because I love what I do, the energy off me sparks. You put all that together, and yes, I walk into a room 3 feet before I walk into a room. Crowds don't bother me at all. I love meeting new people. And I'm someone who knows how to listen. In the first thing, you said something and I didn't run into, gee, I've had a bad blah, 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 blah. My immediate response was, what's going on? Can I help? And when someone is like that, people trust. They know it isn't all about me. And their shielding comes down. The other thing is I get people to laugh. When you sit with me for a reading, I'm going to be telling you this stuff, and you've already seen, I'm funny. I have done stand-up comedy about you think a psychic's life is easy. When people laugh, their shielding goes down and the information goes in. So it's all a matter of master chef kind of thing with me. I know exactly what to do without being false to me to make someone comfortable.
There's a lot of creativity in your life and even the way that you express now. I feel like we're conditioned not to step into our creativity as adults. You have to get serious. Yeah, that's for kids. I feel like it's keeping us stuck because it's keeping us looking in the external rather than having that creative flow and trusting what shows up for us in that creative moment. How has
this creativity with acting and writing and sharing and listening and speaking. How has that helped guide you so that your life is fulfilling and you are connected with your purpose?
It sure doesn't get boring. I wrote an article once called You Can't Get It Wrong. And I talked about the fact when I was a kid, dad was a doctor, and we all know about the examining room table. On rainy days, dad would tear off a 6-foot roll of examining room paper and I would tape it to the wall and I'd go to town. Don't give me a coloring book. I don't want to color inside the lines. I draw kingdoms and Star Trek and all of that stuff. So I encourage people, why do you even have to color inside the lines? The other thing is I don't look 70. And when people say, oh my God, you look like you're in your mid to late 50s, I grin and I say, 2 magic words, no children, take the fingers off your looks right there. I've never stopped being the kid. Doesn't mean I'm immature, but it does mean that I've never had to be so responsible for other people. I've been busy re-raising myself. And that means you don't want to be in a rut that everyone else puts you into. It is always, who am I today? What are we going to learn today? Wow, this thing happened last week. How can I fit that into what I'm learning?
Being young at heart, there was a time that I was too responsible. I do have children. So I was too responsible. And when I went deeper into my astrology chart, this was a thing that showed up for me that it was something for me to learn through. So I'm stepping more into my playfulness and having more fun. That goes with the creativity. So many of us have lost that because it was the responsible thing to do. And now we have to make things happen. We're responsible for other humans, all of these different things. It is about the yes and. I love that you said that because that's one of my sayings is yes and all the time. It's always a yes and. So it's yes, being responsible for your things, but also having fun and being light and trusting creativity and being curious rather than restrictive and forceful. So how has that been for you with your challenges? Because you have had challenges, divorces and breast cancer and different jobs. How has this supported you through these areas? And were there any times in your life that there was a little bit of that seriousness and that you realized and had to let that go?
When it was the third bout of breast cancer, which was the second primary, you turn the danger clock back to 0. But they said, okay, 3 strikes, you're out. Now, I have to preface this with, from the time I was 11, I was built like Dolly Parton. No joke. You put a brunette wig on her, and that was my figure. So for years, guys never looked above. This is one of the reasons that breast cancer kept coming in, because finally Spirit said, look, we need you down there to teach for a long time. If you can't get past this, we're going to remove the problem. It's been 20 years. I'm perfectly clean. It will never come back. But when they said, okay, we're taking the rack, we're taking the ovaries, and we're turning you from a Dolly Parton figure to a fat fire plug with permanent side effects in 3 weeks, suck it up. It was scary. It was. But I knew then that I had to find 3 reasons to be okay with it, no matter how stupid they sounded. So the first one was, okay, you don't have them, you can't get cancer there. That's good. Second one was the top half is not going to get slammed in the refrigerator door at doctors, and every woman listening knows exactly what I'm talking about. Third, okay, implants. I'll be perky till I'm 93. I can deal with this. Got out of Massachusetts General Hospital after double mastectomy and reconstruction in 3 days, shopped for a bathing suit in 5. But before that, I had to really look at all the dark parts, and I did that at a place called the Option Institute with a wonderful woman named Samaria Croft. And I had to look at, what if I wake up and they just sewed me up because I'm so rattled with cancer they can't fix me and I'm going to die? What if I die on the table? What if I'm one of those unlucky ones that wakes up but is still paralyzed and I'm chilling and doing everything? What if I can't stand the pain of chemo and radiation? And I had to get okay with all of that. It was a very intense couple of hours. But because I was ready to deal with all of that, I was able to get through what happened. Was it easy? No. I had only been married to Carl for 18 months. This was not the marriage that we had agreed to. But we're coming up on our 22nd anniversary. We've been together for 24 years because we knew we would have to be a work in progress. So it hasn't all been fun in the past 22 years, believe me. There have been very despairing times. But I always ask myself the most important questions. What am I X about? X is whatever your emotion is. Why am I X about that? Finally, what do I think would happen if I stopped being X about that? We never ask ourselves that third question, which opens up everything for us.
And so it's about mindsets, clarity.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And knowing what you want and being unafraid to go for it.
Wow, that's huge because a lot of people don't know what they want. They only think they know what they want, or they're too afraid to say it or go for it because of the belief that it won't happen.
I will give you the exact reason that happens to 95% of the women I work with. You're 4. You're a smart 4-year-old. There's a plate of cookies. You know there's more in the big one than the little one, so you go for the big one. And your mother slaps your hand and says, no, bad, selfish. Besides, you're so selfish, you're not even going to get a cookie. And she gives it to your little brother who eats it at you. You know how that works. Then she says, besides, girls who eat cookies get fat. Nobody likes a fat girl. Do you really want the cookie? So that we are emotionally bludgeoned by the time we're 6. The subliminal message, if you want anything, you're wrong, you're bad, you'll be punished, and you have to watch somebody else have it. And you can't. So women are bludgeoned into knowing I must not want anything. Everybody else has it first. The only way to stop the pain. That's not true.
It's interesting going back to those times because as a child, I was told that I was too much and I was never satisfied. So for me to not be too much, I made my emotions small. I didn't express myself. I didn't ask for things. I always settled. So it's interesting when you go back to those instances in life and how it has created your entire life based on that interjection or whatever that was said at that point. Give me an example of an experience of working with you. Who is it that you work with? What is the focus on?
I do not work with people under 18 unless they're showing spiritual, metaphysical talents. Then I'll work there. But I don't want to read a 9th grader about, am I going to pass physics and am I going to have a day for the prom? No. When someone sits down with me, the first thing I ask them is, what is the most important thing you want to walk out of here knowing today? Because it's different with everybody. And I'm fast, but I can't do your entire life in a half an hour or an hour. And if they go blank on me, I go Brooklyn on them and go, darling, what's biting your butt? Because the minute they hear that, boom, people know what that is. So we start there, but I tell them, don't ask yes or no questions. Ask how, ask why. Perfect example. Since I used to be an executive recruiter, placing people in 6-figure jobs, I love career questions. So if somebody comes to me and says, I want to open up a new vintage clothing store, is it going to be successful? I look at them and say, and what if I said no? Besides, that sets you up for the fakes. Oh, you have a family curse, but I have these $600 candle peak energy. And trust me, I've seen a lot of that. So I say, always ask how. So I have an entrepreneur spread. Card for them, a card for the energy around the business, the brick and mortar location, how to market it, clients, competition, staff, finances, what they need to know, and best possible outcome. When they see all of the tools, they feel empowered and they take off with a rocket on their back. 95% of the people who come to me, the first question is the version of just first love me. Yeah. And I do 5 cards. Them, the object of their affection, the relationship as it stands, what they need to know, and best possible outcome. If they still go, I don't know what to do, then I pull the 3 threes. 3 cards for status quo. They're just hang out there. 3 cards for the come to Jesus meeting. It's serious counseling. And 3 cards for hostile. Bye-bye. It's been nice, but I'm out of here. Now, this is where free will comes in. I could look at the lead card and it could be having the juice slide. But after I set them all out and tell them, I sit back. And if she says, I guess I'll just stick it out, I know we can fix it, I have to zip my mouth because that is her free will. The only time that I take off the turban and I put on my reverence collar is if she tells me she's battered, gaslit, afraid. Then I show her how she can leave the dangerous situation. But other than that, I don't want to do their free will. That's up to them. That's how we learn. But I can tell them what I see.
So you tell them but they're the ones that makes the choice.
That's right. And I also remind them that even the best of us are only 85% accurate. The only one 100% accurate is God, and he's not got a boots at the psychic.
What lessons have you learned about leadership, using your voice through the journey of reinvention? Because you've done a lot of different things. It's like you tried your hand out in a lot of different things, and you reinvented yourself over and over through life's adversities. What lessons have you learned through that, through the reinvention? And also tell us, is that okay? Reinvention, because a lot of people really struggle with stepping out of the norm and change. So how do you feel about reinvention? I'm changing the question. How do you feel about
There's an old saying, what doesn't change dies.
Yeah.
Everything changes. Every single thing I've done, every challenge, every job shift, everything has fed into my sentence of passion. Your sentence of passion is not who you are or what you do or even how you do it. It is your vapor trail. When you go skidding into heaven on bald tires and fumes in a tank and God hands you a beer and says, so tell me, you got to go, I did this. Isn't it cool? Now, my sentence of passion is cross the bridge from fear to fearlessness and fly. I've lived that. When I can take somebody from point A to point B when they thought they couldn't make it, whack them on their shoulders, say, here are your wings. You don't need a flight plan. I am living my bliss. It's how I lead. It's how I inspire. It is how I can be an elder, not a boomer, which is really important. What's the difference? Everybody has heard the okay boomer things. Yeah, we had the sweet spot of America. Yes, we did. But that's gone. We never had to worry about being shot to death in school. We never had to worry about the fact that the earth might be uninhabitable in our lifetime. We never worried about somebody beating us up or trying to kill us because we took a vaccine, we voted a certain way, we lived a certain place. And the boomers who don't get that, that's the whole okay boomer thing. We elders, we know it is time for us to come out of the spotlight and let the millennials and Gen Zs take it over. We understand that we have knowledge, but we have to wait until we're asked. And we need to be third trenchers. Now, what's a third trencher? In World War I, trench warfare, the first trench is when they went over the top. The reserves were in the second trench. The third trench was medical, food, supplies. So when an elder is a third trencher, that means if there is a big event to feed the homeless, we pack the lunches, we do the dishes. We let the millennials and the Gen Zs plan it, arrange it, do the publicity, decide how it's being done, and they are the face that the public sees, not us anymore. Boy, is that hard for a lot of boomers to swallow.
Wow, that's very interesting. Stepping back and letting those step forward, and then you humbly support.
What did Joseph Biden do on July 21st, but showed he was an elder, not a boomer? Perfect example. It's interesting because I can connect with Gen Zs very well because I'm curious about what they think. I let them ask me questions. I don't say that my way is the best way. When they're having a problem, I say, all right, let's look at your options. What feels good? Why? What about this over here? I don't say, do it this way. We grew up believing someone was supposed to tell us how to do it. They know that is not the case anymore. We have to live it. We have to do it as a group. We have to move the world forward as a solid entity.
And it's because you changed and evolved. A lot of people are so fearful of change that they stay stuck in the way that they once believed. And because of that, they don't learn anything new from the others. So it's so interesting that you brought that up, because I was just talking about my grandmother and how she gets so upset if I do not do something the way that she wants to do it, and almost disowns me because of it. And I was just like, I don't get it, but now I get it.
Good. Good. If I helped for you to understand, that's a good thing.
How do you maintain your balance and stay true to your essence when facing judgments from other people? And how do you recalibrate yourself to ensure that your creative and intuitive facilities remain open and vibrant?
If I have problems and someone tells me I'm wrong and blah, 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 I have a couple of ways to do it. I look at them and I say, thank you for sharing. You may think that if you wish, and then I got to do what the hell I need to do. And the other is I don't tolerate people who are always trying to put me down, say I'm wrong. I will cut them off. Blessings on your journey and goodbye. Does it mean that I think my aura don't stink? No, but I don't like to hang out with people who live in Neverland. Neverland is, it'll never work. No, I don't think so. I'm not going to support you. Fine, go have a life. I'm busy.
I love how blunt you are. I love it.
I am. I am blunt.
That is something that I've been called myself, and I appreciate it because I feel like if you're blunt, people know exactly where you stand. There's no sugarcoating. There's no surprises. There's no, oh my gosh, I had no idea. If you're blunt and you have a choice to either stay or go, and that's fine. So given all that you've experienced and the wisdom that you've gained throughout your life, if you could distill one core message or piece of advice for those striving to find their authentic self or their authentic path, and they find themselves in chaos or expectations, what would that be?
I would say, number one, you can't get it wrong. Okay? The people around you who judge you, who died and made them God, nobody. Get yourself down to the present moment. Just breathe. Just breathe. Don't be the little kid with a foot nailed to the floor who runs around and doesn't understand why the scenery isn't changing. Sometimes we need to walk away from what is bugging us and scrub out our brain somewhere and then come back to it. It's okay. And no, you don't have to get it perfect all the time. If you did, great, go start another religion. But I doubt you're going to get there. And when we die, God is not going to go, you really screwed up, child. This is how we learn. This is simply how we learn.
Oh, I love that because in your human design, you have your profile 1-3. And the 3 is all about trial and error. It's about trying out things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And then what works, great. What doesn't, you let it go. That's it. So I love that perspective and that that's how you live your life. And that's how you can be curious with life. That's how you can let things go. That's how you can not judge yourself on some of the decisions that you made. We get so hard on ourselves when we think something's going to be something that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience?
Please go have fun. Please. There are lots of Hallmark platitude nonsenses about eat more candy, less spinach kind of stuff. But the whole thing is, if you are waiting for things to get better, they won't. Do it now. Do it now. Accept your mistakes. Remember, there's the old saying, one old dam ruins 10 attaboys. Then go get a bunch of attaboys. So when the dam comes, you can laugh at it and kick it to the curb. Because that will happen. You will not live a perfect life. That's okay. You're not meant to. You're meant to experience.
Experience and feel. A lot of people don't want to feel, right? They become distracted. They don't want to feel love, but they want love. But yet they're afraid they're going to lose love. So then they don't go deep, or they fear change. So they don't take that step because of fear of failure, because they don't want to feel. And that's truly what life is about, the extremes of being able to feel. Why would you want to limit that by staying within the box or staying within the norms or staying within what you think you should do? I appreciate you coming on. I love all that you shared. And I truly feel like everyone comes into our lives at the right moment. And so much that you shared were pinpoints, exactly what I needed to hear in this moment. I appreciate everything that you bring. I love your sarcasm. I love your boldness. It's so refreshing to know and to meet people with this energy of authenticity and just knowing who you are and bringing whatever it is you want to the world in the way that you want to do it. That's what we're here to do. And you are a beacon of that. Thank you just for showing up and being here and sharing with us your story, your energy, your brilliance, and what you offer.
My pleasure. And I'm going to end with one thing about what you said with the pinpoints. I cannot tell you how many times that I'm wrestling with something, and I guarantee you, if I'm at a psychic fair and I read 20 people in a day, 5 are going to come with something like my problem. And there I am channeling their information, and my spirit guide is knocking me upside the head and saying, "Yo, dummy, you listen." So, yeah, it happens to all of us.
It's being able to witness it and see it. If you want to reach out to her and schedule a session, look at her website. Everything will be there for you to dive into. I hope that you took away some magic nuggets. I know that I did. And again, thank you, Corby, so much for being here. Appreciate you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
I love you all. Till next time.
My hope is that you walked away with something today that has opened your mind, your heart, or both. Listening to new perspectives not only help you grow and expand, but it helps humanity as a whole. So if you have someone that you feel would benefit from this podcast and you feel that you want to share, please do. Also, would love to connect with you on Instagram. So please follow me at Miranda J. Mitchell. One last thing, if this episode left you with any ahas and insights, take 30 seconds of your time and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. This is the only way I know you are loving the content and connection in this space. And if you want to know more or wondering how we can work together, please go to miranda-mitchell.com, click on the contact in the menu and send me a message. Sending you all love. Till next time.